When our marriage counselor Dr. Williams witnessed my husband's mistress call me and say, "He says you're a terrible wife who doesn't satisfy him." While we were in his office, I smiled, calmly pulled out my phone, and sent her a video compilation I'd been preparing for months. Within hours, the chain reaction I'd planned for 6 months began destroying everything they thought they'd built. But that was just the beginning of what I had in store for them. What happened next destroyed not just Vera, but multiple other people who thought they were untouchable. The evidence I revealed was so damaging that the private investigator I'd hired called it the most comprehensive adultery documentation he'd seen in 15 years. They had no idea I'd been recording everything, tracking everything, and building an airtight case that would ruin them all. The trap was so perfect that when it sprung, their entire world collapsed in ways they never saw coming. By the end of the week, both of them discovered that betrayal has consequences they couldn't have imagined. Justice must be restored and arrogance punished. You won't believe what I did next. Before we continue, please subscribe to the channel and let us know where you're listening in the comments. Robin, your support means everything to us. Robin. The irony of sitting in Dr. Williams' office discussing our communication problems while my husband's mistress was calling my phone wasn't lost on me. Robin had insisted we try couples therapy one more time before I made any rash decisions about our marriage. What he didn't know was that I'd already made my decision 6 months ago when I first discovered their affair. Dr. Williams' office was designed to be calming. Robin's soft lighting, comfortable leather chairs, the kind of expensive tranquility that costs $200 per hour. Robin sat across from me in the matching chair we'd bought for our own living room 3 years ago, back when I still believed he was faithful. The $4,500 Italian leather sectional where he'd been meeting Vera while I was at work. The irony was perfect. "Trisha, Robin says you've been distant lately," Dr. Williams said, adjusting his glasses as he reviewed his notes. "Can you help us understand what's been causing the disconnect in your relationship?" I looked at Robin, sitting there in the expensive button-down shirt I'd bought him for his birthday, wearing the Rolex I'd surprised him with for our anniversary. Every item on his body had been purchased with money from our joint account while he was actively betraying me. "I think the disconnect started around the time Robin began his relationship with Vera Morrison," I said calmly, watching his face go white. Dr. Williams' pen stopped moving. Robin's mouth opened, but no sound came out. "Trisha, what are you talking about?" Robin finally managed, his voice cracking like a teenager caught lying. That's when my phone rang. Perfect timing, as if the universe wanted to provide evidence in real time. I looked at the caller ID and smiled. "Actually, this is Vera now. Should I put her on speaker so Dr. Williams can hear how she talks about our marriage?" Robin lunged forward in his chair. "Trisha, don't." But I'd already answered and hit speaker. "Listen, you pathetic bitch." Vera's voice filled the therapy office like poison gas. "Robin told me everything about you. He says you're a terrible wife who doesn't satisfy him. You're boring in bed, you're boring in conversation, and frankly, he's embarrassed to be seen with you." Dr. Williams' jaw dropped. Robin looked like he was about to have a heart attack. "He's only staying married to you for the kids and the money," Vera continued, unaware that she was destroying herself in front of a professional witness. "But don't worry, once his business partnership pays out next month, he's leaving you for someone who actually knows how to take care of a man." I let her finish her rant, watching Dr. Williams take notes, and Robin slowly realized that his entire world was about to collapse. "Vera," I said sweetly, "I'm actually in couples therapy right now with Robin and our counselor Dr. Williams. You're on speaker. Would you like to repeat what you just said about my marriage?" The silence that followed was beautiful. "Oh, and Vera, check your phone. I just sent you something that I think you'll find very interesting." I ended the call and looked at Dr. Williams, who was staring at both of us like we'd just confessed to murder. "Doctor," I said calmly, "I have 6 months of evidence documenting this affair. Text messages, hotel receipts, GPS tracking data, and video footage. What Vera doesn't know is that the videos I just sent her include footage of Robin with 3 other women." Robin's face went from white to green. "Trisha, how did I what, Robin? How did I hire a private investigator? How did I install tracking software on the electronics I pay for? How did I document every lie you've told and every dollar you've stolen from our family? Dr. Williams set down his pen. I think we need to end this session. Actually, doctor, I think we're just getting started. But what they didn't know was that I had been planning this moment for months. Robin. The drive home from Dr. Williams' office was when the real scope of my husband's betrayal hit me like a freight train. Not just the cheating Robin I'd known about that for months, but the financial devastation he'd been planning while Vera cheered him on. Robin's business partnership that Vera had mentioned so casually on that phone call, that was news to me. We'd agreed that all major financial decisions would be made together, but apparently Robin had been making plenty of decisions without me. The partnership involved selling his share of the Robin eating firm he'd built with our money to a competitor for $340,000. Money he was planning to use to start a new life with Vera. I pulled into the parking lot of our bank and sat there for a moment, calculating the scope of his deception. 6 years of building a business with money from my inheritance. 6 years of me working overtime to support the family while he focused on growing the company. 6 years of believing we were partners building a future together. The numbers were staggering when I really thought about it. My father's life insurance money that had funded Robin's startup, $85,000. The home equity loan I'd taken out when the business needed emergency capital, $45,000. The credit cards I'd maxed out covering our living expenses while he reinvested profits, $67,000. But the personal costs were even higher. The family vacations I'd skipped to save money. The promotions I'd turned down because Robin said he needed me to be available for business emergencies. The friendships I'd lost because Robin convinced me that spending money on social activities was financially irresponsible. All so he could build something to give to Vera. My phone buzzed with a text from my private investigator, David Chen. Package delivered. Vera opened the videos. Want me to proceed with Phase 2? I'd been working with David for 6 months, ever since I noticed Robin's behavior changing. Late nights, secretive phone calls, sudden interest in expensive cologne. David had documented everything Robin, the affair with Vera, the business partnership plans, and 3 other women Robin had been seeing casually. But David had also discovered something that would destroy Robin completely. Proceed, I texted back. David's next message made me smile. Tax documents uploaded to IRS portal. Business partnership contracts sent to Robin's current business partners. Hotel receipts forwarded to Vera's fiancé. This should be interesting. Vera's fiancé. The detail that made everything perfect. Vera Morrison wasn't just my husband's mistress. She was engaged to David Morrison, a prominent attorney who'd been planning their wedding for 8 months. The same David Morrison who handled legal affairs for several of Robin's biggest clients. The same clients who were very conservative, family Robin-oriented people who would be horrified to learn that their Robin heating firm was run by a man who habitually cheated on his wife. My phone rang. Robin's number. Trisha, where are you? We need to talk. I'm at the bank, Robin. Taking care of some financial business that apparently you've been handling without me. Look, I know this looks bad, but Vera means nothing to me. It was just a stupid mistake that got out of hand. Which mistake, Robin? Vera? Or the other 3 women David documented? Silence. Or maybe you mean the business partnership you've been planning without telling me. The one where you sell our company, Robin, the one I funded with my inheritance, Robin, so you can start over with your mistress? More silence. Trisha, I can explain everything. Just come home so we can talk. I'm not coming home, Robin. I'm filing for divorce, and I'm taking the kids to my sister's house. But first, I have some calls to make. What calls? Well, your business partners should probably know about the partnership deal you've been planning. And the IRS should probably see those receipts David found showing you've been hiding income. Oh, and Vera's fiancé definitely needs to see the videos I have of you 2 together. Trisha, please don't do this. You're going to destroy innocent people. Innocent people? Robin, Vera just called me a pathetic bitch who doesn't satisfy her man. And you've been stealing from our family for months. Nobody involved in this is innocent. I hung up and made the first call that would trigger everything I'd been planning. The call I was about to make would trigger everything I'd been planning. At 2:47 p.m., I called Robin's business partner, Robert Chin Robin David, the investigator's brother, which wasn't a coincidence. I'd chosen David specifically because his family had connections throughout the business community. Robert, this is Trisha Mitchell, Robin's wife. I need to speak with you about some business matters that affect the company. Of course, Trisha. What's going on? I have some documents showing that Robin has been negotiating to sell his partnership share to Brennan Robin Eating without consulting you or the other partners. The silence that followed was exactly what I'd expected. Trisha, that's not possible. Any partnership sale requires unanimous approval from all partners. Robin knows that. Robert, I'm sending you the contracts right now. Robin has been planning to sell for $340,000 and use the money to relocate with a woman he's been having an affair with. I could hear Robert typing in the background, probably opening the email David had prepared. Jesus Christ, Robert muttered. These contracts are dated 3 weeks ago. Trisha, this would violate about 6 different clauses in our partnership agreement. It gets worse. I'm also sending you tax documents showing that Robin has been hiding income from client payments, money that should have been reported to the partnership. How much money are we talking about? According to my investigator, approximately $78,000 over the past 18 months. Robert was quiet for a long moment. Trisha, if this is accurate, Robin has committed fraud against the partnership. We'll have to involve attorneys immediately. I understand. But Robert, there's something else you should know. The woman he's been having the affair with is Vera Morrison. She's engaged to David Morrison. The attorney? The one who handles our McPherson account. The same one. And Vera works at Pinnacle Robin Eating Robin, one of our biggest competitors. The intake of breath was audible. Trisha, are you saying Robin has been sharing proprietary information with a competitor? I'm saying you should probably check your client lists against the new accounts Pinnacle has landed in the past 6 months. Robert's voice turned ice Robin cold. Trisha, I need you to come to the office immediately. Bring everything you have. This is much bigger than an affair. 20 minutes later, I was sitting in the conference room at Mitchell & Associates Robin Eating Robin, the company that bore my husband's name but was built with my money. Robert had called an emergency meeting with all 4 partners, plus their attorney. Gentlemen, Robert began, we have a situation that threatens the entire company. He distributed copies of the documents David had compiled. Partnership sale contracts, tax evasion evidence, client lists, and photos of Robin with Vera at restaurants where they'd obviously been discussing business. Robin has been negotiating to sell his partnership share without our knowledge, Robert continued. He's been hiding income from the partnership. And he's been sharing client information with a competitor through his affair partner. The lawyer, a stern woman named Patricia Hoffman, looked up from the documents. This constitutes fraud, breach of fiduciary duty, and potentially corporate espionage. We need to act immediately. What does that mean? Asked Tom, the youngest partner. It means we freeze Robin as access to all company assets, initiate legal proceedings to remove him from the partnership, and report the tax evasion to the IRS. She turned to me. Trisha, you mentioned you have additional evidence? I pulled out my phone and opened the folder David had prepared. I have 6 months of surveillance footage, financial records, and recorded conversations. Robin has been planning this betrayal for months. Patricia's eyes widened as she scrolled through the evidence. This is the most comprehensive documentation of business fraud I've seen in my career. Trisha, with this evidence, we can not only remove Robin from the partnership, but also sue him for damages. How much in damages? Robert asked. Patricia calculated quickly. Partnership fraud, hidden income, lost clients to competitor. We're looking at approximately $400,000 in provable damages. The room went quiet. There's more, I said. Robin has been using company credit cards for his affair. Hotel rooms, dinners, gifts for Vera. According to my records, he's charged about $23,000 in personal expenses to the company. Tom shook his head in disgust. Trisha, how long have you known about this? I've been investigating for 6 months. I wanted to be absolutely certain before I destroyed my husband's career. What about Vera Morrison? Robert asked. What's your plan there? I smiled. Vera's fiancé should be seeing the evidence right about now. But they had just given me the final piece I needed to destroy them all. Robin. While we were meeting at Robin's office, phase 2 of my plan was already in motion. David Morrison, Robin Vera's attorney fiancé. Robin was opening an email with the subject line, "Regarding your fiancé, Vera Morrison." The email contained a simple message. "Mr. Morrison, I believe you should see this evidence before your wedding. These materials document a 6-Robin-month affair between your fiancé and my husband, Robin Mitchell." Attached were 40 Robin 7 photos, 12 videos, and a complete timeline of the affair with dates, locations, and financial expenditures. David, the investigator, had timed the delivery perfectly. David Morrison would be finishing his lunch break, returning to his law office where he handled cases for some of the city's most prominent families. The same families who value discretion, integrity, and family values above all else. My phone buzzed with a text from the investigator. "Target acquired evidence. Currently viewing materials. Emotional response confirmed." 20 minutes later, another text. "Target contacted his law firm's HR department. Vera Morrison terminated effective immediately." Then, Target canceled wedding venue. Vendors being notified. And finally, Target posted evidence to social media with caption, "When you find out your fiancé is a lying cheater." Going viral. I showed the messages to Robert and the other partners. "Jesus," whispered Tom. "How many people is this going to destroy?" "Everyone who deserves it," I said calmly. That's when my phone rang. "Robin." "Trisha, what the hell have you done? I just got locked out of the office. Robert won't take my calls." "Robin, you're at the office?" "I'm in the parking lot. Security won't let me in the building." "Perfect timing. Look up." I walked to the conference room window and waved down at Robin, who was standing beside his car looking confused and desperate. "Robin, you should probably check social media. Vera's fiancé just posted some very interesting photos." "What photos?" "The ones of you and Vera together. And the ones of you with Rebecca from the gym. And the ones with Amanda from your client's office." Should I keep going? I could see Robin pull out his phone. Even from 4 floors up, I could see his face change as he scrolled through David Morrison's Facebook post. "Trisha, please. We can work this out. I'll end things with Vera. I'll do whatever you want." "Robin, it's too late for that. Your business partners are currently calculating damages from your fraud. Vera just lost her job and her fiancé. And in about an hour, Channel 7 News is going to run a story about corruption in the robin eating industry." "What story?" "The one about a local businessman who stole from his partners to fund affairs with multiple women, including an employee of a competing firm." Robin's voice became desperate. "Trisha, you can't do this to me. What about the kids? What about our life together?" "Our life together ended when you decided to steal from our family to buy gifts for your mistresses." I ended the call and turned back to the conference room, where Patricia was on the phone with someone who sounded very official. "Yes, IRS Criminal Investigation Division. I have a case of tax evasion and business fraud, approximately $78,000 in unreported income. Yes, I can send the evidence immediately." Robert looked at me with something that might have been respect. "Trisha, I have to ask, how did you plan all this so perfectly?" "I didn't plan to destroy Robin's life," I said. "I planned to document the truth. Robin destroyed his own life by choosing to betray everyone who trusted him. What happens now?" "Now we wait for the local news to pick up the story. David Morrison's social media post is already getting hundreds of shares. By tonight, everyone in the city will know what Robin and Vera did." Patricia hung up her phone. "The IRS will be here tomorrow morning to seize all company financial records. Trisha, they're also going to want to interview you." "I'm ready for that." Tom asked the question everyone was thinking. "How much of this is going to destroy the company?" "None of it," Robert said firmly. "Robin defrauded us just as much as he defrauded Trisha. We're victims here, not accomplices." But what I didn't tell them was that the most devastating evidence was still coming. Tomorrow's revelation would end not just Robin and Vera, but everyone who had enabled their betrayal. Robin, Robin, Robin. The next morning, I woke up to 17 missed calls and 40 Robin 3 text messages. Robin's destruction had gone viral overnight, but not in the way anyone expected. David Morrison's Facebook post about Vera had been shared over 2,000 times. The story had been picked up by 3 local news stations, 2 radio shows, and a blogger who specialized in cheating spouse justice stories. But the real explosion came when Vera tried to defend herself. At 2:30 a.m., Vera had posted her own response on Facebook. "I don't owe explanations to anyone about my personal life. David Morrison is a controlling, abusive man who never deserved me anyway. Robin Mitchell is twice the man David will ever be, and I'm proud to be with someone who knows how to treat a woman right." That post had been shared 8,000 times. The comments were brutal. But Vera wasn't finished destroying herself. At 4:17 a.m., she posted again. "For everyone judging me, Robin's wife Trisha is a frigid, boring woman who drove her husband into my arms. She's jealous because she can't keep her man satisfied. Some women just aren't cut out for marriage." That post exploded across social media like a nuclear bomb. By morning, #Vera Morrison was trending on Twitter, with thousands of people sharing screenshots and commentary about her homewrecker meltdown. But the best part was what happened when people started digging into Vera's background. My phone rang at 8:30 a.m. David the investigator. "Trisha, you need to see this." Vera's social media meltdown triggered something I wasn't expecting. "What do you mean?" 3 other women have come forward claiming they were also engaged to David Morrison. Apparently, Vera wasn't his only fiancée. I nearly dropped my phone. "What?" David Morrison has been running marriage scams for years. Multiple engagements, multiple wedding deposits collected from women, multiple joint bank accounts opened and drained. The FBI is getting involved. You're telling me Vera was being scammed by her own fiancé? Gets better. The law firm where Morrison worked? They're being investigated for client trust fund violations. Morrison has been stealing from clients for years. The irony was perfect. Vera had been cheating on a con man who was stealing from his clients while planning to steal from her. My phone buzzed with another call. Robert from Robin's company. "Trisha, you need to get down here immediately." The IRS agents found something that changes everything. What did they find? Robin wasn't just hiding income from the partnership. He's been running a completely separate business using our client list. The IRS says it's the largest case of tax fraud they've seen this year. How large? Over $300,000 in unreported income. "Trisha, Robin is looking at federal prison time." I drove to the office in a daze. The scope of Robin's deception kept expanding beyond anything I'd imagined. When I arrived, the parking lot was full of news vans and federal agents were carrying boxes of evidence out of the building. Inside, I found Robert, Patricia, and 2 IRS criminal investigation agents waiting for me. "Mrs. Mitchell," said Agent Rodriguez, "we need to ask you some questions about your husband's business activities." "Of course." "Were you aware that your husband has been operating Mitchell Consulting as a separate entity using your company's client list?" "I had no idea." Agent Rodriguez showed me documents that made my blood run cold. Robin had been billing clients for services that Mitchell and Associates was already providing, essentially double Robin billing everyone. The clients thought they were paying for additional services. The partnership thought Robin was just working extra hours. "Mrs. Mitchell, your husband has stolen approximately $340,000 from clients and $78,000 from his business partners." Over what time period? 2 years. And according to our analysis, all of this money was spent on maintaining relationships with multiple women. Agent Rodriguez pulled out a financial chart that looked like a roadmap to hell. Robin hadn't just been cheating with Vera. He'd been maintaining ongoing relationships with 7 different women, spending an average of $5,000 per month on each of them. Hotels, dinners, gifts, travel, rent payments, Agent Rodriguez continued. Your husband was essentially running a harem funded by tax fraud. Patricia looked like she was going to be sick. Agent Rodriguez, what does this mean for the company? The company will survive. Mr. Mitchell acted independently. But Mrs. Mitchell, your husband is looking at 5 Robin 7 years in federal prison. That's when my phone rang. The call I'd been expecting all morning. Robin. Trisha, please. You have to help me. The FBI just arrested me. I'm at the federal courthouse and they're saying I could go to prison for years. I put the call on speaker so the agents could hear. Robin, the IRS agents are here with me right now. They're explaining how you stole almost $500,000 to fund your affairs. Trisha, I can pay it back. We can work out a payment plan. Please don't let them destroy me. Robin, you destroyed yourself. I just documented what you were already doing. What about the kids? What about our family? Our kids will be fine. They'll grow up knowing their mother stood up for herself instead of enabling their father's crimes. Agent Rodriguez motioned for me to keep Robin talking. Robin, where's Vera now? I don't know. She won't answer my calls. Her apartment was empty when I went there this morning. I think she ran. Actually, Robin, Vera is at the FBI field office being questioned about David Morrison's fraud schemes. Turns out she was a victim too. What fraud schemes? Her fiancé was running marriage scams. Multiple engagements, stolen client funds, fake law practice. Vera picked 2 criminals to fall in love with. The silence on the phone was absolute. Robin, I have one question for you. Was any of our marriage real? Or was I just funding for your criminal enterprise? Trisha, please. Answer the question, Robin. I loved you. I still love you. I got confused. I made mistakes. You didn't make mistakes, Robin. You made choices. Hundreds of deliberate choices over 2 years to steal money and betray our family. I hung up and looked at Agent Rodriguez. Agent, what happens now? Now we finish our investigation. Your husband will likely plead guilty to avoid a longer sentence. The money will be recovered through asset seizure, and you'll be free to rebuild your life. But there was one final piece of evidence that would end them forever. Robin. 6 months later, I sat in my new apartment watching the evening news with my children. The news anchor was concluding a story that had become a cautionary tale about infidelity and fraud. Robin Mitchell was sentenced today to 6 years in federal prison for tax evasion and wire fraud. His co-Robin conspirator Vera Morrison received 3 years for her role in the scheme, though prosecutors noted she was also a victim of her fiancé David Morrison's separate fraud operation. The anchor continued. David Morrison, the attorney who is engaged to Morrison, received 8 years for operating a complex marriage and client trust fund fraud scheme. The case highlighted how multiple criminal operations can intersect in unexpected ways. My son Tommy, now 12, looked up from his homework. Mom, do you ever feel bad about what happened to Dad? It was the question I'd been expecting for months. Tommy, I feel sad that your father made choices that hurt our family. But I don't feel bad about exposing the truth. What's the difference? The difference is that I didn't destroy your father's life. He destroyed it himself by choosing to steal and lie. I just made sure everyone knew the truth instead of letting him keep hurting people. My daughter Wendy, who is 14 and understood more than I wish she did, asked the harder question. Are you happier now? I thought about that for a moment. The financial stress of rebuilding our lives. The challenges of single parenthood. The social complications of being the woman who destroyed her husband. I'm proud of myself, I said finally. For the first time in years, I'm proud of who I am and what I stand for. What do you stand for? Tommy asked. I stand for the truth. I stand for protecting our family. And I stand for not letting people who hurt us get away with it just because we love them. The news segment ended with an update that made me smile. Mitchell & Associates Robin Eating has been rebranded as Chun & Associates and has grown by 40% since removing the fraudulent partner. The company now specializes in ethical business practices and has become a case study in corporate integrity. My phone buzzed with a text from Robert. Trisha, we just landed the Morrison Industries account. $200,000 contract. Want to celebrate? I'd been working with the company as a consultant since Robin's arrest, helping them rebuild their reputation and client base. It turned out that my business degree and my experience uncovering Robin's fraud made me excellent at detecting and preventing corporate corruption. Another text, this one from David the investigator. Vera Morrison released from federal prison today. Moved back in with her parents in Idaho. Still blames you for ruining her life. I showed that text to Wendy, who rolled her eyes. Some people never learn. What do you think she should have learned? That actions have consequences, and that you can't blame other people for your own bad choices. Tommy looked up from his math homework. Mom, Vera called you names and tried to steal Dad. Why would she blame you for what happened to her? Because it's easier to blame other people than to admit you were wrong. But you had evidence of everything, right? So you were just telling the truth. That's right. And sometimes telling the truth makes people angry, especially when they've been lying. Wendy closed her laptop and looked at me seriously. Mom, would you do it all again? If you could go back and handle it differently? I thought about that question for a long time. Robin in federal prison. Vera serving time for fraud. David Morrison's law license revoked. Multiple lives destroyed by choices they made themselves. Wendy, if I could go back, I would have spoken up sooner. I would have stopped enabling your father's behavior years earlier. I would have demanded honesty and respect from the beginning instead of hoping things would get better. But you wouldn't change how you expose them?
No.
Because people who steal from their families and lie to their spouses need to face consequences. If I had stayed quiet, your father would still be stealing money, and Vera would still be destroying other people's marriages. Tommy nodded thoughtfully. So, you protected other people too, not just us. That's right. Sometimes standing up for yourself means standing up for everyone.
My phone rang.
A number I didn't recognize. Hello. Mrs. Mitchell? This is Channel 7 News. We're doing a Follow Robin Up story on the Mitchell fraud case. Would you be willing to give an interview about your experience? I looked at my children, both of whom were listening intently. What kind of interview? We're focusing on how people can protect themselves from financial fraud by family members. Your case has become a template for other victims. Other victims? Mrs. Mitchell, your story has inspired dozens of people to investigate their own suspicions about cheating spouses. 3 other major fraud cases have been uncovered using methods similar to yours. I thought about that for a moment. People protecting themselves because I'd shown them it was possible. I'll do the interview, I said. But I want to focus on the lesson, not the drama. What lesson is that? That love without respect isn't love at all. And that protecting yourself isn't revenge, Robin, it's justice. After I hung up, Wendy asked, "What are you going to tell them?" I'm going to tell them that sometimes the most loving thing you can do for your family is refuse to enable destruction. And that standing up for yourself isn't selfish, Robin, it's necessary. Tommy grinned. Are you going to tell them about the videos you sent Vera? I'm going to tell them that the truth always comes out eventually. The question is whether you're going to be the one telling it, or whether you're going to be the one trying to hide from it. As I tucked the kids into bed that night, Wendy asked one final question. Mom, do you think Dad will ever understand what he did wrong? I hope so, honey. Because understanding what you did wrong is the first step toward becoming better. What if he doesn't? Then that's his choice to make. But it's not our problem anymore. That night, I sat in my living room looking at the life I'd built from the wreckage of my marriage. It wasn't the life I'd planned, but it was honest. It was mine. And for the first time in years, it was built on truth instead of lies. Some people called what I did revenge. I called it justice. And justice, it turns out, feels a lot like freedom. So tell me, Robin, was I wrong to expose my husband's crimes so thoroughly? Should I have handled it quietly to protect our children from embarrassment? Let me know in the comments below. And if this story inspired you to stand up for yourself, hit that subscribe button. Because sometimes the best revenge is simply refusing to be the victim anymore.
If this story got you thinking, go ahead and hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe for more real stories that hit deep, and tap the bell so you don't miss what's coming next. And hey, if you know someone who needs to hear this one, share it with them. Thanks for watching.